I want to talk today about the Ship of Theseus and leadership. Now you might say to me, what have those two got in common? And to be honest with you, I'm probably stretching it a little bit, but I really was taken with it when I would listen to this, ancient Greek puzzle of the Ship of Theseus. And I apologize to any great Greek philosophical student who's going to listen to this, because I'm sure I'll get this slightly wrong. But the basic principle of the Ship of Theseus is that if you have the Ship of Theseus and each year you change one plank and replace one plank with a brand new one at the end of a given period, do you still have the Ship of Theseus? Have you got something completely different? Okay, so what has that got to do with leadership? Personally, I think it's actually got quite a lot to do with it, because when we think about ourselves, we are dynamic. We are always changing. So nothing stands still. So for good or for worse, we are changing and we're evolving into a newer version of ourselves. So every step that I take is essentially a vote for the sort of person that I want to become and that I've decided I'm going to become. And when you think about it from a leadership perspective, that's really important, because am I now evolving into the leader that I really want to become, or am I just going to end up being some sort of leader? And how do I influence that? To my mind, how we influence it is by being really clear about the values that we have. And, let's be honest about it. Lots of organisations play a token gesture towards values, that it's something that we do, we put up on a plaque in reception, but we don't actually live them. And every now and again we come back, take them out, dust them off and have a look and say, oh yeah, I remember doing that. And, and on we go. But when we're looking at the principle behind the Ship of Theseus and the decisions that we take that are a vote for us evolving into the sort of leader that we want to become, we need to make sure that we're actually living to our values and that we're really clear about what those values mean. They're not just words, they're not just kind of pretty words, attractive words that sound great and we can put on our website or put in the annual report. We're actually living them, so that I know by every decision and every action that I'm taking today is in the context of the values that I have in my business, and it is going to evolve me into the sort of leader that I want to become, and that the people who are in the organisation also want me to become. So I think the challenge for all of us is understanding is, when I bring it back to today, are the decisions I'm making today, are they congruent with the values that we have? And I understand how those values play out in my organisation. If yes, then that's fantastic. If no, then I'd say, what am I going to do about it? And what are you going to do about it? So spend a little bit of time reflecting on the Ship of Theseus and what it means for your leadership. If you want to get a more accurate description of what the Ship of Theseus is, then talk to some Greek student of philosophy that you know very well, who'll do a far better version of it than I have done. But I think you get my point. Are we evolving into the value-based leader that we aspire to? Or are we just going to become a leader and figure out what that looks like when we get there? Leave your comments. I'd love to hear it. I think it's an interesting concept. I think it's worth debating, and I'd love to hear what you've got to say about it.